So today we're going to talk about what is a research paper, what are the parts that you need to include, and how do you go about tackling this type of an assignment. So the first thing we want to define is what a research paper is and what it is not. A research paper is not a report or an encyclopedia entry. It is not just a list of facts about a topic. And it is not a personal opinion paper that includes the use of first person like I, me, we, our, or us. So what does that leave us with? A research paper is ultimately an argument based on evidence. Something like A causes B or C happened because of D. A research paper is making a point. It is not just a collection of facts. So you might have a research paper that makes the argument that exercise can help the blood sugar levels of patients with diabetes, or a paper that argues that the Treaty of Versailles led to the rise of Nazis in Germany. No matter what your argument is, you must have an argument when you are writing a research paper. You cannot write a research paper that is just based on a topic with no argument. So there are 4 very important parts of a research paper. You have your introduction, your thesis statement, your body paragraphs that provide supporting evidence, and your conclusion. And you need to have all of these parts in order to be successful. So what should we not include in a research paper? Here are some tips from years of reading students writing. I've found that students want to do these things, but they are not appropriate for research papers. So do not include your personal opinion or beliefs. Do not write something like I believe or I feel. When you have an argument in your research paper, you're going to state it strongly without any first person, and you're going to state the reasons behind it. So instead of writing, I believe the chocolate chip cookies are the best dessert, you would write, chocolate chip cookies are the best dessert because they are sweet, chewy, and rich. And now I want a chocolate chip cookie. Do not include first person, second person, or contractions. All of those are considered not acceptable in academic papers. Also, phrases such as with that being said, or as I mentioned before, or etc. should not be included. So let's talk about the first steps. When you are first going to tackle this research paper project, what are you going to do? And the first thing that you need to do is actually not write, it's read. You need to do background reading about the topic. This is really important because in order to write about something, you need to understand it. So you have to find the history, the background, the context, what is going on with this subject. And it can be very simple in the beginning. You can Google the topic, you can read about it on Wikipedia, just to get a broad overview of what is happening. You must familiarize yourself with the topic, though, before you start to write about it. Because as I said, you cannot write about something that you do not understand. So this first step, depending on your topic, can take you anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half. You want to just set aside time. You don't really have to take notes, but although you can, but the most important thing is to understand the lay of the land when it comes to your topic, so you know what you're diving into. Then, before you start writing that paper, you need to create an outline. Outlines are the fundamental thing that many students miss when they're writing their papers, and it's very apparent when you're reading a paper that did not have an outline because it is not organized. An outline provides you a plan for your paper. It is the directions for how your paper is going to go. It helps you organize, and it also makes sure that you do not miss any required sections. If you sit down with your assignment and you use that to help you write your outline, you will be ensured that you're not going to miss anything. It will take time to create your outline. It's not going to be something that you can just do in 10 minutes. Again, just like reading about your background on your topic, an outline may take anywhere from 45 minutes to multiple hours, depending on how complicated it is. You may have to revise and reorganize as you do your research, and that's okay. The outline is not set in stone. It is there to help guide you. Just like directions when you're driving. You might get a set of directions, but then if there's an accident, you would have to alter your route. The same is true for an outline. So what does an outline look like? Here is a very basic example. And there are different types of outlines. There are outlines that have just phrases like this one, and there are outlines that are called extended outlines that have full sentences. So you would typically start with this type of outline where you're just going to get the main parts down. So you'll notice we have our introduction, which includes a background and context of the topic, as well as your thesis statement, then 3 supporting reasons. And each of those Roman numerals there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are going to be their own paragraph or multi-paragraph. They're going to certainly be their own section in the paper. And then at the end, you're going to have your conclusion where you summarize your argument and evidence, you restate your thesis, and then you provide some type of closure. So let's dive into the introduction. What do you need to do to write a good introduction? The most important thing is provide some background information on the topic. When you are writing a paper, you need to assume that your reader knows nothing about the topic. So you have to give them the lay of the land before you can start your argument. What you don't want to do is start your paragraph or your paper in the middle of a conversation. We all have friends like that who'd walk up and said, "Can you believe what he said?" And you're like, "Who is he and what are we talking about?" So you don't want to do that. You want to start your introduction from a place where you are explaining to the reader what is going on. In your introduction, make sure to define any unusual terms. If you have acronyms, like CDC, for example, you need to write out what that means before you use the acronym. You want to set up the parameters for your paper. So think about, who are you talking about? What are you talking about? Where and when and why did it happen and how? Those are the kind of ideas you want to be considering as you're writing your introductory paragraph. And then at the end of your introductory paragraph should be your thesis statement. And this should then lead your reader right into your paper. Your thesis statement is the most important sentence in your research paper. It is your argument and the reasons behind your argument. So it has 3 parts: your topic, your claim, and your supporting reasons. If you just have a topic, then you don't have a research paper, you have a report or an encyclopedia entry. You need to have that claim there. You need to have your argument in order to make it a research paper. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. 1, exercise improves outcomes for patients with diabetes by lowering their blood sugar, improving circulation, and making the body more sensitive to insulin. I should edit that so that it says making instead of makes. So there, our topic is exercise, and our claim is that it improves outcomes for patients with diabetes, and then our supporting reasons are the rest of that sentence. Another thesis statement: Social Security provides a necessary safety net for Americans because it helps the elderly, the unemployed, and surviving dependents of deceased workers. So again, our topic is Social Security. Our argument is that it provides a necessary safety net, and then we have our 3 supporting reasons. So that's all for thinking about how to start your research paper. Next, we'll talk about citations and then conclusions. Thank you.